Check. What is up, everybody? Let us know if you can see us, you can hear us. I'm back. Feels like it's been a while again. Very happy that hopefully for everybody who tuned in last week, you guys got to meet Krishna. She is our new interactive media intern here at NETGEAR. So she's actually managing the YouTube channel now, and I'd like to reintroduce myself. So I'm the digital experience manager here at NETGEAR. So I do manage the Mural brand, managing the NFT activities that are going on. The Mural brand, really exciting stuff. I still oversee a lot of the activities that we're doing on YouTube and our live stream efforts on Zoom, as well as kind of managing the content that goes across our channels. But besides that, I am very happy to say that I am now a digital experience manager here at NETGEAR. Ben, you're up, our other digital experience manager.
Yeah, so I'd like to congratulate you for being digital experience manager.
Thank you.
You've been doing that for a while. We just haven't updated the title. And I am the digital experience manager for Nighthawk Pro Gaming, and Orbi, or not Orbi, but Armor. Cybersecurity services and smart parental control services. And also, it's been a while since I've been here, so it's nice to be back. I'm going to turn things over to the brains behind this entire operation, Michael.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael. Most of you who've come on, you know me. I'm technical marketing manager at NETGEAR. And I do a lot of things. I'm a jack of all trades. I work on some of the Pro AV stuff that NETGEAR has with big digital video walls. Spend a lot of time with beta products and just have a lot of fun, playing around with NETGEAR stuff. So here to answer any questions you got. And I'll hand it off to Darren.
I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist and community moderator at NETGEAR. I handle all home networking products across the community and social media.
Awesome. So you guys got the dream team here, as y'all in the chat like to refer to us. And again, if this is your first time here, this is Tech Support Live. So this is your hour to drop in all your questions. If you need help setting up any NETGEAR products, you got either you're trying to kill a dead spot, or you're just here to hang out. This is your space to do that. We do this every single Friday from 12 o'clock Pacific time to 1 o'clock Pacific time. Just looking at the chat right now, I am so happy again and again to see all of our beautiful regulars here. I see Ryan as our first comment. You love our show, we love you back. Vanessa, best show on the internet. And see, this is exactly why we like to do these streams, because and I think we mentioned this almost every stream, but I think it's been definitely over a year and a half that we've been doing this. This kind of started off as us being able to kind of manage all those questions coming in as we got into lockdown, and a year and a half later, you guys are still sticking with us. And these are the kind of comments that keep us going week on week. See, Vanessa, she mentioned that she's driving, and then hopefully she'll be able to participate in the chat once she gets back. And she's just a really big fan of our products. We got Kev Herbert, we got Desiree, hopefully I said that right. Jerry Williams, Kieran, Ricky B, all of our beautiful, beautiful regulars. So thank you, and welcome back to everybody who is returning. I think that we haven't gotten a super technical question yet. And again, please throw that in there once you guys have them, and then we'll be happy to answer them. We like to go chronological order here, so earlier you are in the chat, the earlier you're going to get your question answered. What's up, Ben?
Oh, it looks like there's a XR 1000 question. Naturally.
Oh, beautiful. What do you got?
So I'm still trying to play around with my camera, trying to center myself. But with the XR 1000, yes, I do have some news. And you should be seeing a firmware across the board for the 1000, the 700, and 500. Hopefully in the next few weeks. And when I say few weeks, I'm talking, 3 to 4 weeks. So hopefully that occurs. But as last time I checked, it was looking towards that. As we are, we recently moved our QA, and so it takes a while for that sort of team to ramp up, and so there's been a backlog, and so now some of these things are going to get through as far as like firmwares. So hopefully that's great news for any of you using the XR series, including myself. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Awesome. And again, this is your best chance to kind of get a hold of our team, right? I think, Ben, you've been kind of our designated Extra 500, Extra 1000 Tumo OS 3.0 update person week on week.
Yeah.
So
and it's been rough. It's been rough for the community because we've been dealing with the pandemic, and with that technology space, the chip shortage, just getting product shipped, getting stuff to people has been getting stuff to our warehouses has been hard enough, and getting things out to people. But I think that we're doing a pretty good job of it, all things considered, and it's nice to start to see some of those processes come back where we can be a little bit more agile on those. So I appreciate the community being patient with us. I know there's been some negative comments, and some frustration, but bear with us. We are listening, we are working on it, and we're trying to get these things out as quickly as we can.
And we do appreciate all the feedback, especially from you guys who come week over week in the chat. Again, whether it's good or bad, we want to hear it. We are a relatively, I think, small team, despite, I guess, how much brand recognition that we do have. So, again, we could get all your comments in right to the people who create the products and the services that you guys use every single day. So, as I like to say, I learn as much from you guys. I learn as much from the hosts themselves, being on the show week on week. So, again, you got probably the best people that I could probably ask for to get here on the show.
I agree. I've learned so much in the last year and a half, just being on this, that it's pretty cool. Darren and Michael have so much experience and so much knowledge on things. You're in great hands here. Wow. So any other questions?
Yeah, I did want to get to rents here down below. I think the latest one. So hopefully we can get this one kind of figured out during today's show. The Rack 70 is A-OK, except clicking on the show attached devices and just get a buffering circle. So I think this might be something within the Nighthawk app. Is that right?
It could be. It could be. Especially if is it the app that you're having issues with, or is it the router login that you're having issues with? That could help.
I was going to be asking that question as well. Is he logging directly into the router, or is he using the app to go in? If both of them give exactly the same results when he tries to show attached devices, then we know it doesn't have anything to do with the app in particular. But it would be good to know which one, or if both of them have that problem.
Yeah, it'd be helpful to sort of narrow down the choices and do that from an investigation perspective.
Okay, Ren's
he doesn't use the app, so it's definitely directly into the router.
Yep. And does this always happen, or is it something that just randomly happens? If it's always happening, then it tells us there's got to be something wrong with the firmware on the device, because it should be pulling up attached devices. If it randomly happens, then that's a lot harder to nail down, because it means it works, but something is causing it not to work now and then.
Have you tried another web browser or another device to see if you get the same behavior as well?
Yep.
Yeah, and especially trying another browser.
Yeah, and another. Yeah, actually everything. Just or another device, right? And I'm curious. So he doesn't use the app, but I wonder if he were to, that perhaps
if it would show up in the app.
Yeah.
It would be a fun experiment, but most likely if he's not getting it when he's logging directly into the GUI, then the app's not going to give it to it, because most of the time the app is just running the calls that are inside the router that logging directly in uses.
Mhm.
Right. And with that, you know, it's a good possibility that it's a firmware issue, and you might want to, you know, always best to factory reset and reinstall that firmware, and just to make sure that you know, everything's clear.
Yeah.
And of course, making sure that you're running on the latest firmware.
Yeah,
Mhm.
correct.
Yeah. All great recommendations. I think really, just off the top of my head, Ren, if you're able to try this out, cycle boot the router, turn it off, wait a little bit, 15, 30 seconds, turn it back on, and then try using routerlogin.net through a different device. And if that doesn't work, a different web browser. And again, you got us for the next about 45 minutes from now. So give it a shot and come back. And then if you still have issues, happy to help you out. I did want to. How do I pronounce your name?
Oh,
Desiree.
Desiree?
Yeah.
Why? Wow, I'm having one of those mornings. How did you guys get that?
Because Desiree actually put out the sounding of
Oh,
but also it's D-E-Z, Des.
Yep,
that is
Des.
true.
Ray.
R-I.
You know what?
Desiree.
I think I was mistaking the R. I thought it was A-A-R-A. Okay. Okay. It's my fault. My bad. Desiree, let's do it. I'm installing a WatchGuard firewall T40 hardware device on my Orbi. The X4200. Do you have any experience working with WatchGuard firewalls with the Orbi system? Do they play nice? Okay, Desiree. Okay, I see the follow-up. Thank you for clarifying that. I got you now. All right, so this is a hardware device being attached to Orbi. What do you guys think?
Yep. First, no, never heard of anyone that's actually tried using the firewalls with Orbi. I did just pull it up and trying to determine whether or not the firewall is being positioned between your modem and your Orbi, or whether it's being positioned after it. I'm assuming it's being positioned before the Orbi, in between the modem and Orbi. Otherwise, it couldn't act as a firewall to your entire network. There shouldn't be a problem with it, because it should be able to pass all of the internet traffic directly through it. But that would be more on the WatchGuard side than on the Orbi side, because Orbi shouldn't care if it's actually attached to something else that's filtering out content. It's just whatever content's coming through that, Orbi should be able to pick up.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Actually, I haven't heard of it. So it looks almost like a switch, but I'm assuming you plug the router into this device, right? And then it kind of works.
My assumption with other firewalls I've seen is that firewall will sit between your modem and your router,
Yep.
and it acts as a hardware firewall instead of software.
Yep.
Awesome. So Desiree, I'm not sure if you've already tried it out, or you're like in the process of installing. So okay, cool. And again, give these things a shot. Like again, I think we definitely got our regulars week over week, because we love to see, even if it didn't work or whatever it is, report back to us. And, we're just excited as you are to get your solutions going and running. So hopefully it does work out for you. Give it a shot. It should be no problem. But if it does, feel free to give us a shot. Cool. And Ren, FYI, Chrome works okay, brings up the devices.
Yep.
Woo!
So it would be nice to know which browser were you using that you were having problems with, just for our knowledge.
And it could have been a cookie issue with that browser. Like you just need to clear the cache and the cookies, and maybe it'll pop up and start working in that web browser as well.
Yep. Have you noticed, though, that clear the cache is the go-to answer every time you have problems getting anything in a browser? First thing that I'm always told, oh, well, have you tried clearing the cache? It's like, no, I want the stuff that's in my cache. I don't want to get rid of it.
That's true. That is true.
Right.
And my cookies. Clear my cache and my cookies, and I got to relog into everything.
Exactly. And I got to bake in a whole new set of cookies.
Yeah, and all of, with good password etiquette, like I don't remember half my passwords.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Once I got on 1Password, it's like game over. I do not remember anything.
So then I'm like, oh, I don't remember my password. So now I've got to log in through the credentials again. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But that's kind of like the nature of the game here. Very. How many times do we run into this? Unless it's something super technical. A lot of times, if you give it a quick reboot, try, clean login back into the app, reset the cookies, reset the cache, something like that. It's usually just some kind of gunk in the pipes that you got to just kind of clear up, and then hopefully for the most part it kind of ends up working back up again.
And with browsers, you really want to, when you are having problems like this, you really want to try a different browser because especially now, more and more third-party browsers are coming out that people like to try. Mm-hmm. And so, just like back in the good old days when there were the browser wars and there were tons of browsers, each browser worked, slightly differently.
Yeah. But that's also the thing here too. It's like because everything kind of works a little bit differently from each other. We want to personalize the help for you guys. So feel free to hit us with your hard questions, for your easy questions, whatever it is. I think right now we're 2 for 2. I haven't seen anything else kind of come in yet. I'm not gonna blow our whistle here, but very rarely do we get stumped. Thank you, Michael. So again, hit us with it. We got about 40 more minutes. And if you don't get any questions, we're going to play show and tell. So drop that in there.
I got a question for the panelists.
What do you got?
Which browser is your favorite one to use, or the one that you use day to day?
Ooh.
Okay, so that's a conflicting question for me because I use Chrome every day, but more and more recently, it's the memory usage that's kind of killing me, especially with the amount of tabs that I got open, especially at work.
Yep.
I don't know what to do because I'm stuck.
How many tabs do you have open?
Like a dangerous amount.
like more than 20?
Okay, I think relative to a lot of other people's desktops I've seen when they screen share, it's actually not as bad. Fun question. I use I like to organize different windows depending on what my tasks are. I got the news window with like 18 tabs on it. I got my work window.
Why? Why do you keep so many tabs open? I keep 6 open for work, and then if everything else is closed until I go to use it, then you're not eating resources.
I think it starts because I do look at the news, so I just right click, open a new tab each article, and then I try to just all right, this is what I think I need to learn today, and then I slowly kind of reduce it down, but it ebbs and flows. I always start large and then try to condense it from there.
And Chrome is a hog, especially over time. You can have 10 tabs open to start with, and it's not eating that much memory. But then as time goes by, at certain times, you'll see it spike up and chew up most of your memory or processing power. And it can be a pain.
Man,
but I'm like Darren, that I close down tabs I'm not using and only open them when I have to. So I might have a half dozen at most.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I used to be like you. And I was very diligent about keeping my tabs closed. Now, because of some of the changes with my role, I need certain tabs opened and reference them during the day. So I have between I'd say 10 and probably 14 tabs open during the day.
Probably around the same.
Yep.
And I run Chrome. I used to be a big Firefox person until Firefox had some security issues, and then I moved to Chrome. I do so all of my work stuff is on Chrome, but then I've got Safari for looking at the news.
Yeah.
I keep, or if I'm listening to something, like a channel, it'll be on Safari.
I think Firefox
actually switched,
right?
Well, I was just about to say every 2 years someone's like, "Oh, Firefox better than Chrome," and everybody switches.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they go back to Chrome.
Yep.
I've seen that so many times. That's why I was like, Firefox got better, right? Or no, they're compromised, or they're better. I don't know where we're at now.
I actually have been using another one called Brave.
Oh.
Which I use that when I'm looking at the news, because most of the news sites have so many pop-ups and so many ads on the sides. that you get a tiny little window out of your entire screen that actually has the article in it. And with Brave, it strips out almost all of that. And actually did a side-by-side comparison between having the same web page open up in Brave and in Chrome. And Chrome literally had 1/3 the amount of space for the article than what I saw in Brave.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wait, that's actually pretty cool because, again, I'm reading my news articles, but I hate it when the news article is this big and then the page is that big.
Exactly. And it
Like,
was
bro.
driving me crazy. And on a couple of websites, because I use an aggregator to look at a lot of my news, and then that takes me out to their site. There was some pages where literally you had this tiny little section in the center of the screen, and everything else was ads and pop-ups and more pop-ups.
And what's
It
even
was a
more
pain.
fun is when it gets paywalled. So it's like,
Yes.
oh, you get that little bit, and then
Oh,
it's like, all right, either subscribe or you pay your 99 cents for 3 months.
that is my most frustrating thing is the paywall with news.
Yep.
You know, I'm trying to get my news from legitimate sources, and you know, there's a good article on something, you know, that I want to read about, and then it's like you have 2 articles left, you know, or sorry, you've read all the articles this month, and it's just so frustrating. And to be honest, I think that's why a lot of misinformation gets like put out there is because people, you know, hit those paywalls and then they're like, well, I'm not going to go get the rest of that.
That is true, actually.
And they get information from a free source, and it may not be, you know, necessarily the you know, the right or correct information.
And with all those pop-ups that come up, all I could think of was on the movie Ready Player One, where he's talking about the number of ads that you can put on a screen before you have brain overload. And I'm thinking,
Right.
yeah, we're getting really close to that.
Oh yeah, it seems like you're constantly like batting away.
Yep.
You know, and I have to say, there's a couple of sites, and they're big, legitimate like movie sites, right? That they have an article, and the article is literally 2 paragraphs.
Yes.
And the rest of the page is nothing but ads. And and after kind of going there like about 3 or 4 times, I'm like, nope, done. You know. I think we do have a question on
we do.
Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah. All right. So Armin, you are up next. Are there, and we're gonna answer this. Are there any new Wi-Fi 6E Orbi mesh routers coming out next week or sometime next month? Who wants to give that answer?
Well, the answer is not that we know of. Until it's actually officially announced, we can't actually say anything.
Yep.
Yeah, and at this point, there are no Wi-Fi 6E Orbi mesh routers. We're sure they're going to be coming out because that's just the way NETGEAR is. Every new technology, it starts to spread out like a virus into all of our you know, product lines. But until it's actually officially announced, there's nothing that we can say.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say stay tuned. But also, again, if you kind of look at NETGEAR history, and I'm only kind of say this just because I think I've been working here for at least a few years. A lot of things and I think Michael alluded to that. Some of the best or the newest technology will come to Nighthawk first and kind of stretch its way up. So I'm just gonna say, you know, obviously things are always in the works here, but just pay attention to when something goes out on Nighthawk or on, let's say, the Rex. Oh my God, our Wi-Fi 6E router. Just pay attention. And then, you know, you'll see things kind of go up from there.
Yeah, we would, you know, we tend not to announce things until, you know, we're like Zoolander. We won't tell you that it's ready until it's ready, you know, and until then we can't really, you know, talk about like, you know, Blue Thunder or whatever. But if you see, I'll give you this general hint. And like Angelo said it best is you see it come out on one of our lines, you're probably going to see, you know, it go across, especially when it's a new technology. You're going to probably see it pop up in several different places in our product lines. But
you know, that's the unique thing is like, you know, we'll place our bets on a new kind of technology, And that's, I think, one of those exciting things is like, you don't really ever really know if it's going to take off or not. But when it does, we've come out with like a few different innovations in the past. I mean, even just kind of thinking in the relative past, well, obviously we're working on Wi-Fi 6E right now. In the past, we've had some experiments, let's say, with Orbi Voice. We have Orbi Voice, smart speaker in the Orbi satellite. I remember back in the Arlo days, we had Arlo Baby, and a lot of really interesting ideas being bounced around when we had Arlo. So again, you never know what's going to happen. It just depends on what actually sticks and what people actually like.
So Desiree has a great question, and I think that Michael can best explain this. It's time to. What we should have is like some sort of like tag thing that comes in on like deep dives like this, or I would even say, would this be radio signal basics? Metal building. Not getting any good signal in it. I'm going to guess Faraday cage.
Well, actually, what Desiree has there is says that the satellite is actually wired into the switch in the house, which sounds like it means he has a physical hard wire running from the house out to the satellite that's inside his metal building. And the internet still goes in and out constantly in the metal building. It obviously could be a few things. If it's just the outer frame is a metal and inside there isn't any metal, you shouldn't have to worry as much about the signal being transmitted inside and being blocked by things. But if it's a metal building that also has metal girders that are holding up the walls, internal metal framework, anything like that, that's also going to cause a problem. It also could be that his satellite has issues, or that cable that he's running from the house to the metal building isn't high enough quality or is degraded. Certain things you'd want to check. One is if your satellite has an Ethernet port on it, that when it goes out in the metal building, try plugging into the Ethernet port and see if you still have internet access. If you do, then it's the wireless on the satellite that's causing the problem. Yep. If you're not getting anything through the Ethernet port on the satellite, disconnect the satellite from that Ethernet line coming from the house and plug that directly into a PC. See if you're getting anything across the line. So it's pretty much just break it down in segments, trying to find out where it's actually stopping. It could just be there's a lot of metal inside that building, and the Wi-Fi signals as they're bouncing around are just grounding out on all the pieces of metal that are in there.
Yep, new cable, wood frame.
That's a good deal, Michael.
Metal, like radio signals, and that's what Wi-Fi is. Material has a huge effect on the range, the fidelity. Think about it. It's just like Superman's X-ray vision. He can't see through lead. And that's X-ray is a it does have a waveform, and it can't penetrate that. Same with Wi-Fi; it's not going to be able to penetrate certain things.
And also with the completely metal, house, basically roof is metal, walls are metal, and so on. You also have to think about bounce back from your signals.
Yep.
Because
it may be interfering with your own original source signal.
Exactly, because normally we talk about Wi-Fi signals not going through metal, but that's because we're trying to get the Wi-Fi signal from one side of the piece of metal to the other. But if you're on just one side, the signal will go and hit that wall, and it can actually bounce off of it, or part of it can actually bounce off of it and come back and basically cancel out the signal that originally hit the wall.
Really?
It's it's an issue. Yeah, it's actually an issue with one of the reasons why you always want to terminate your cables, like with your coax, is that you actually, when it hits the end of the coax cable, if it's not terminated, it can hit that, and then some of the signal can be bounced right back into the signal that's going out, which basically is causing its own interference. And that's also on fiber optic cables and various other types as well. Bounce back can also create some issues.
Wow. I was just thinking out It's a funny analogy. I was like, oh, I never really thought of the bounce back actually negatively affecting it. I was just thinking, oh, it's like more concentration. I was like, there's more Nesquik powder in the glass of milk. That's how I was just thinking about it. But apparently not. I'm learning today. See, it's one of those things.
And
Awesome.
if you could actually get it to bounce back at just the right angle, so it was the exact opposite frequency as the wave that's going and hitting the wall, it would completely cancel out that signal. So basically, you have a signal going like this, and if it happens to hit the wall and bring it back down so that the peak and the valley are the same, it's going to cancel out that signal. Wow. So yeah, they're interesting stuff.
That is.
Yeah,
awesome.
Signal, we really need to have like some sort of like infographic or like a short animation on signals and how signal strength bounce back material, because it's something that is we think about it because of course we're sort of steeped in this, but not a lot of people think about it.
You know what we need? We need one of those. I need to set up a scene where we could like have a communal whiteboard and then we draw out these little diagrams and all that. Is that even possible? It's like a Google Doc.
Is it possible? Like, can we get Michael a whiteboard and just have a camera on the whiteboard?
Right.
And okay, gang, here we go.
I was just thinking like Scribble.io, and then you just draw it on that.
Actually, it might be possible because I have a new writing tablet that is an e-ink writing tablet, but they just added a functionality to it where you can share out what you're actually showing. And I'll have to try it out and see whether or not I can share it out to the world. And then I could just scribble right on that tablet and pop it right up.
And I'll be like, yo, Michael, you want to show off your stuff? I got a whole scene set up for it. And then
excellent.
And then boom, see, you got a virtual whiteboard.
I like it.
Innovation. Man, that's the thing. We have some relatively simple OBS like templates here. And again, we want to hear from you guys. If you guys want to see us like, I don't know, like you guys get any ideas, like the virtual whiteboard. Yeah. We always thought about the question, like putting the question up there somewhere, but we get questions depending on the show. It could be very few or a lot, and that's like a lot to kind of
I actually think the digital whiteboard, because we just went through, and thanks Desiree, because that was a great question, because we could then take your question, do the digital whiteboard, answer it, and then we could take that little snippet out and have it as a resource for other people. It's those are like, we live in the future, so those are things that are possible. I don't know if we can do it, but we might be able to do it.
You're giving us these great ideas. Again, I think the nature of kind of also how our team works is that, and I think I also alluded to it, whether it's a product team, whether it's our team, we just experiment, see what sticks. And that's kind of like also a fun part of the job too. Why not? I mean, it wouldn't be hopefully not that hard to set up, but if that'll help you guys.
With a big enough government grant, we can do anything.
Give us the goods, and then we'll do it.
Yeah. Ryan's like, can you guys do a live XR 1000 overview live? Probably.
Those have always been our most popular shows.
Yeah, they have.
Stuff is 100% the gaming stuff. Depends, Ben. When's the next big thing for XR 1000 or NPG? I think we do have some cool things we want to start talking about, but we can't talk about them yet.
We do, but we can't talk about it quite yet. And like I said, I think the nearest thing out is really just trying to get that new firmware out to you guys. Once that kind of hits, maybe we take 5 minutes and I go through.
Or actually, we could devote a section of this show, and we can actually talk and comment on things as we're going through the different portions of it.
Actually, not a bad idea, because and for me, it's a kind of like guide, kind of like the streaming strategy here. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I mean, obviously we have tech support live here, but you know, maybe like theming one of the weeks on, hey, today we have this cool thing for the Extra 1000 coming out. Check out. We'll just use a part of the time slot to talk about that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously we're still gonna be talking about tech support, but it's kind of like we have this little what do you call that? Like a seminar or like a panel at the end, or like just a little bit of like that like extra cherry on top, you know. And if you guys like that kind of stuff, then hell yeah.
Yeah, and you can. And really kind of show, like, you know, some of the benefits that, as Ryan said, you know, some of the benefits of the Duma OS. You know, it's amazing every single time I look at my device manager, that I'm like, oh well, crap, I've got like more devices than I had, you know, 3 months ago, and like even in I have a 2-bedroom apartment. I've got 25 devices connected up to the internet, and you just, you know, being able to kind of triage that and give priority to your gaming is going to make such a huge difference between like what would be like a stock router and a performance router. And I think that gaming routers are really kind of performance routers. And somebody asked me the other day, well, what was the difference? And a lot of our XR models are based off of other models of router that we have, but it's the same as like the difference between like the base model Challenger and like the Hellcat. You know, it's got an upgraded engine, upgraded transmission, upgraded brakes. It goes to 0 to 60, 2 seconds faster than the base model. And it's because all of those performance parts that are put in, and you think about like the Duma OS as game performance parts, it really kind of you kind of get the difference between those routers. Is the QoS on our Nighthawk, base models, good? Yeah, but if you are really into that performance where you need, literally milliseconds of a difference, for online, like almost every online first-person shooter or competitive type game. Think about like look at Angelo's background is Wreckfest, which is a demo derby racing game. Playing racing games online, 25 milliseconds, of a lag spike is a pretty significant, lag spike. It's a difference.
Yeah.
It's difference of like if you drop like just 5 frames, trying to go around a curve. That's the difference between you making it around the curve and you looking like the background for Angelo, where you're blowing tires and parts everywhere.
I do that anyway.
And I do it anyway because that game's so awesome. But that's the difference between like the performance type routers like the XR series and like a regular one, because it hones in on that, and it's really about making that difference of milliseconds.
Crazy idea. And I think this actually kind of started with Desiree. So yeah, send us your we'll figure out your check later. But I just had an idea. Like, what if we asked everybody, hey, what do you want us to talk about in the next stream? Whether it's like something like how to optimize your extra 1000 for racing games, whatever it is, or Michael talking about Faraday cages. I don't know. It's like, what do you guys want to see?
Yeah, a little bit of some homework for us, I guess.
Yeah. And then we're going to throw Christian in the mix. And then we'll be like, hey, Christian, you're going to talk about these new topics that we talked about last week. Good luck. Hey, it's good training. Sorry.
Oh, and Desiree does have a question asking us what kind of systems we have set up in our homes.
All right. Well, okay.
So go ahead, Angelo.
Me?
You start.
Okay. The system. So I'll just talk about kind of the products that I do run. So I have a Rax 200. I run completely wirelessly. So everything that you see in every stream that I host is like completely just based on Wi-Fi 6. So I use the Rax 200. We got about what do you call that? I don't know how many devices we got. Probably like around 20 to 30 devices. I got gigabit speeds. I'm in San Francisco, so pretty dense. I live in an apartment building, so super dense. I like to think that we have like cement thick walls, so the Wi-Fi tends to still like work pretty well in terms of kind of containing it within the unit and things not really interfering with it. So I love it. We got a good deal on gigabit. I know obviously that's not super accessible to everybody here who might be watching the show, but again, I would just recommend if you do have the opportunity to get gigabit, you gotta use something besides the hardware you're going to be given if you want to get those full speeds. And I tend to get like just in real world usage, just about like everything I could do or everything that I want to do, I can do, including the stream. If the stream was lagging, cutting off, like you guys would probably know. I hope. But that's the setup that I got. I also got a Ready NAS, thank you, Michael, and then a mural. You can't see it, but it's back there behind my room. I love it. What do you guys got?
You want me to go next?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
I have actually a pretty straightforward setup. I've got an XR1000 that goes into a SX10 gaming switch, which then goes. So my gaming PC and my Xbox X are wired to the switch, and my Ready NAS is also wired to the switch. And then I have Wi-Fi 6 that goes to a Wi-Fi, a Nighthawk mesh extender, because I live in a concrete and metal Faraday cage, and so trying to get those signals back into the back bedrooms is a little bit difficult. And then the Nintendo Switch, the regular Xbox, my daughter's Xbox, her laptop. She's got a couple of toys that use internet as well. All of those are then bouncing off of either the mesh extender or off of the Wi-Fi off of the router. But pretty simple setup. But I do have a lot more devices than I I have 25 devices, and that's just me and my daughter. So I don't know how many.
It's about right.
I don't know how many roommates Angelo has, but I have just about as many devices as Angelo has with roommates, which I find very interesting because, like, I've also got a mural as well. I've got one of the photo frames, and the funny part about it is you just cool tech and cool toys. You just end up adding more stuff that ends up vampiring your internet.
Oh,
but
man.
That's my setup.
Wait, Ryan's got a question, I think. Well, actually, he got two questions your way. Warrior 1, updates on XR1000, and 2, gaming switch. I don't know.
Yeah, so Warrior 1, as I said, probably look for a new firmware, hopefully in the next about 4 weeks. And then Ryan, so when we launched the Nighthawk Pro Gaming line, we had 2 switches. We had the S8, was it S8000?
Yes.
Two? I didn't know we had a second one.
Yeah.
That was unmanaged, was it?
Yeah, it was an unmanaged switch. And then we had the SX10. The SX10 has 10 ports on it. 2 are multi-gig ports.
In fact, there it is right there.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oops. I just I switched to overlays at the wrong time. There you go.
It's discontinued, but
it's an awesome switch.
It's an awesome switch, and if you can find it, buy it. It's a great switch.
It's got the RGB for all your gaming stuff.
RGB, it's
and you can set independent colors to each one of the LEDs for each one of the ports.
It has its own management. So if you didn't have a XR router, it actually could prioritize gaming traffic on its own.
It has 2 10-gig ports.
It does, which is super, as they say here in Oakland, hella fast.
Yes.
And it is, it's a tank. It's built out of forged aluminum.
It's solid. It's very solid.
It's super solid. And the 8000, which was about $200 cheaper, because it only has 8 ports, and none of them are multi-gig. But that one is slightly smaller and also built like a tank. Those things will run forever. And just to toot our own horn about switches, that's what put us on the map with switches at the very beginning. So our switch game is like solid. And Vanessa Kitty, right, will attest. Didn't she have like a switch of ours that was like 10 years old?
Oh, we got some indestructible ones. I know we definitely got regulars in the chat who have been using our stuff for like those switches could go for like 20 years plus.
It easily. So Ryan, if you could find an SX10, grab it.
Yeah,
and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and it's funny you guys are talking about switches. We're gonna have a little Zoom webinar next week, actually, and I'll be hosting that one. Check out our socials on Thursday, 10:30 a.m. We're giving away an Orbi Pro Wi-Fi 6 Mini with a PoE switch. We're gonna be talking about 10 gig switches and really all the crazy stuff that you could do. I know that we like to talk about the hardware a lot, but we're also going to be kind of talking about like, hey, what can you do with this kind of stuff, right? It's pretty mind-boggling stuff once you kind of get into the tech of it. But I know we got 10 minutes left. Michael, I know you got a lot to share.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, my setup is pretty much a hybrid of many things. First of all, I checked to see how many attached devices I currently have, and I've got 36 attached devices on my network. Active right now, and that doesn't include 5 additional Arlo cameras, because all the Arlo cameras talk to a single base station, so they don't get individual IP addresses. So yeah, 36, and there's only 2 of us here, so we've definitely got a lot of hardware in the house. My network, I've got pretty much everything that I would need. My main router is still an R9000. And that's what comes into the house. Piggybacked off of that, I've got a Orbi system so that I can have whole home Wi-Fi going out into the yard and out onto the deck. I also have a set of power line set up from one room into one of the others so that I can have all of the wired AV stuff in the room hardwired into things. I've got that SX10 switch that we were talking about, the gaming switch that is connected up to not only my XR1000, which is what I'm connected through right now, but I'm also using the 10 gig switches to connect my PC to one of the 3 Ready NASs I have, one of them which has a 10 gig port on it. So I have a nice 10 gig connection all the way from my PC to it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Just a quick update on that switch. You could get it for $249 on Dell. If you're on Amazon, it's $599.
Whoa,
$599. Wow.
Yeah, and there's a couple other places where it's above 400. So
hey, it's gonna be a collectible now.
It's
a
collectible.
So,
exactly.
Get it while you can.
Yeah. So awesome. If you can, not to derail, but yeah. It's going for that's amazing.
Oh yeah, and when you were talking about a mural, there you go. There's one of my murals right there.
Nice.
It's got to mix in with the background a little bit, but you know it's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Man.
So Darren, what do you have?
I'm in a 2-bedroom condo, and I have an XR500 that is wired into the wall. I have every room with Ethernet, and it all goes to my garage where I have an 8-port NETGEAR unmanaged switch connected to it, and then I have a Ready NAS as well.
That's solid.
That's pretty amazing that we all have Ready NASs.
Hey,
like,
everyone
you gotta back up your stuff, man.
You gotta back up your
if
stuff.
I don't.
Also, like, I put all my music on the Ready NAS.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
Yep.
And so it's not taking up hard drive space.
And I have the Plex server running on my Ready NAS. And so I can actually stream my music and video collection anywhere I want in the world, as long as I've got an internet connection.
I've actually always wanted to set that up. Another idea, if you guys want to see that, how to set up Plex on these kinds of things. You know, we want to see it. Everybody in the chat, I see Vanessa's back. We're doing a little show and tell session. So throw whatever you guys got in there. We're actually really interested in seeing what you guys have, because again, we can recommend you stuff that, you know, if you want to improve, like, I don't know, your speeds, your range, whatever it is, you know, we're happy to kind of provide our input, you know. You got us for whatever whatever kind of questions you guys have. Vanessa says go ahead.
Desiree has one last question. If you were, since they can't rebuild it without metal, what do you recommend to do something different than what they're doing now?
First thing I would say is we have to identify where the problem is.
Yeah, just track that down. I would say that.
Is it actually, you know, the signal that's causing the, you know, problem? Is it the satellite? You know, we've got to nail down, is there an actual physical problem there? Or is it just because you've got Wi-Fi in a building that's bouncing around a lot? And my, you know, first recommendation would be, if you're using something like the Orbi, what you can do is you could put another Orbi like in the center of the building, and it'll daisy chain off of the main satellite that you have. If it's hardwired in there, you might want to try moving it, or if it's got an Ethernet port on it, to run a second access point off of it and put that in the center of the building, just so you're getting more Wi-Fi coverage than just that one unit. But first thing, find out what's causing the problem. Yeah.
And then, I know that we're running out of time, but I would, like over the weekend, do that investigation, you know, plug Ethernet into that satellite. If you're getting, you know, good signal there, you know, then it could be, you know, a Wi-Fi issue. Plug directly, if you're not, plug directly into the wire that's going into that that satellite, and see if that's the issue, and you can kind of like narrow things down.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
And then again, we do these every week, so
and then come back next week and let us know.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would be happy to help you kind of diagnose a little bit further. Let's see.
Obviously, Ryan's a big time gamer, because he's got it there, his XR1000 hardwired to his Xbox S, his PS5, his Xbox One, and his PS4 Pro. Someone like console gaming.
Yeah, where do you guys get these PS5s and the Series 10 and or Series X? Like,
if Darren didn't have both the PS5 and the Xbox X, I would not believe that they exist.
Apparently, they're out there.
Darren is the only person I know that actually has those devices, and he has shown it to us on camera.
Had to be patient on day one.
I
got a pre-order.
I fell off the truck. We know that.
Yeah. I still like put things into, like, when they're like, hey, we've got them in stock. I put it into the cart and then I put in my information, and it somehow
then it's gone.
It's out of my cart.
Yep.
Speaking of stuff like that, did you see the Bitcoining farm that got taken down that had like hundreds of PS4s mining FIFA currency?
Yeah.
PS4s,
amazing,
man. I mean, it makes sense. But
no, but the craziness is FIFA currency.
Yeah, FIFA currency.
Oh,
yeah.
The heck is that?
The FIFA has a big in-game system where they
No way.
sell you.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't make
thing.
money off of like buying the game. It's all the Ultimate Team cards.
Yep.
It's a trading card system inside the game, basically.
I thought it was like an altcoin or something like that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're buying the newer consoles to do that as well, mine that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, you heard that because China's cracking down a lot on the crypto mining, that some of the companies there are selling off batches of their high-end NVIDIA cards. The problem is they're selling them off in large batches, and the cost of them per card within the batch I saw was only something like around $300 to $400 a card. And the exact same card, if you try buying it off of like Amazon, is about $1,000.
Wow.
Jesus. I need my hands on some of these things, man. Oh
As
man.
the article said, though, do you really want a card that was being used for crypto mining? Chances are
Yeah.
they were running at full throttle,
Oh, God.
24/7. So
Yeah, I'm good.
Or even overclocked.
Yep.
With very little cooling, probably.
Yeah,
as well.
probably
Yep.
none.
Throw it in a hot room and then let it do
Yeah.
its thing.
And speaking of overclocking and stuff, have any of you seen the latest news? I think it's Amazon has a MMO that they're beta testing right now.
Oh, that's burning out.
Yeah, it's not
cards.
just breaking cards, it is burning them out. And we're
Yeah.
talking
What?
high-end cards. We're talking the NVIDIA, 390s, burning out.
Yeah.
No way. Wait, an MMO?
Yeah, it's an
Yes.
MMO.
Yeah, because what it looks like is it's because it allows you to have like unlimited frame rate in it. And somehow the video card, doesn't have a block on it to stop, as high a frame rate as you can go. And so it's basically pushing frame rates so high in the cards that the cards are overheating. And the thermal switch, which should be kicking them off, isn't working. And so it's killed multiple cards on people.
Jeez.
Yeah, I would be so upset. Imagine playing and then just blurp.
Yep.
You can't get a new one. You're just
No.
out of luck.
Yeah.
That's so well, man. Man, all right. We are pretty much right at the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody here who is in the chat. One doing a little show and tell session at the end, but everybody who threw the questions in.
Yep.
Again, this is really just awesome to see this kind of community kind of grow and evolve over time here. So Desiree has taken off by now, but we hope to see them next week. And everybody in the chat, please throw your suggestions in if you guys want to talk about some topics, and then we'll save the chat here, and then we'll send it off to Krishna to go over that for next week. Besides that, it is 1 o'clock here, so we're going to end the show. But want to thank everybody here, as well as our lovely panel for today. And we'll see you with Krishna as our host for next week. See you guys next time.
See you guys.
All right. See everyone later.
Later, guys.